Okay, so here's the final setup. I'll go to my shaded view here and I'll take a perspective view. We've got the big light board from the back that's going to fill that bottle up real nice because it's transparent. Another one here from the front, just creating some nice highlights. And then, of course, the main one up top, lighting down through it. Okay, because when it's transparent like that, we need to get a lot of light on it. But I don't want hard lights, so that's why I'm using these light boards and having radiosity calculated so that it diffuses the light. This little guy right here is an area light, which is what's creating that little nice hot spot down there. And that's just a soft blue color to fill it up. Okay, so let's get back in here. Let's go to the surface editor and select the cap. For the cap itself, I think the color's okay. Let's just darken it a little bit. Let's make it about 80% diffused, 20 spec, maybe about 20 gloss, and about 20 reflection. And what is it going to reflect? Ray tracing and spherical map. We want to reflect the environment as well as an image map. And for the image map, we can use the exact same reflection that we used earlier. That is in your images folder, reflections. Okay. And you can blur it if you want. I don't think it's going to need it necessarily, but just that's all you need. Just a little bit of reflection, a very soft tone, because otherwise it overpowers the bottle. The values I have set just there work fine. And you can see it's starting to render out. Okay, let me do one more thing and we'll do another render here. And that is to go to the tube inside. And all we're going to do with this is make it about 60% transparent and maybe just a little bit of refraction. That's it. Maybe about 80% and 10 and 10. And it really doesn't need any reflection, but we'll put a little on just in case. Save all objects. And let me do one other thing, and we'll just do a final render here. I'm going to take the bottle itself, Control-C to clone it. And with that clone, let's just go to a top view. I'll move it back here, like this. We're going to clone this one time. I'll move this here. And with these, you can just rotate them. See how they look. Move your camera if you need. Possibly move this in the back. Take my camera, and I'm going to right mouse and rotate like this. And T for move it over. And then with left mouse, I can kind of do something like this. And this is why we wanted a little bit more of a cyc back there with some lights on it. Okay. Shift S to save the scene gives it a different version. Version 2. And now we got these really pretty glass perfume bottles. And all we need to do now is put a little depth of field on. But because of that whiteboard with the radiosity back there, we just have a nice soft fall off back there. Just a little soft light. Doesn't take away from our product, and that's really key. That's one thing that's important about doing these product shots and why we're doing these training videos, is that these are things that clients need. I get a lot of emails from people saying, hey, you know what? We're not doing sports cars and things like that. We are doing products like this. And hopefully these are all some tips that you can use throughout your course. Talking about these light boards for a minute, another reason I like them is because our environment really outside the set is just black. So by putting the whiteboards, when you have glass like this, you actually can see it in the reflection, and you also get the feeling that it is the light source. You know, your brain understands it that way. And it just gives a little bit more realism that you're looking at something on a set. Okay. Now this takes a little bit longer because we're seeing more of the set, so there's more shadows to calculate, more reflections to calculate. The next thing we have to do, and then we'll have our final render, is just set up some depth of field so that we have our focus concentrated right about here, but kind of getting blurred as we go towards the back. And you can also see why the whiteboard is important for the cap itself. We have that nice little streak right there. That is from the whiteboard sitting right in front of it. So it works out quite nicely having those. But you couldn't use them before because they weren't light sources. Now with radiosity, they are. And we'll let this pop up real quick. Still not bad. 1 minute, 40 seconds. Okay. So there's our nice glass bottles. The tube now looks a lot more plasticky. Not so just a white stick in there. And finally, we got to do is put a little bit of depth of field on. This right here is a reflection of the board, so I need to move that out of the way a bit. and tilt it some. Okay, that's pretty much the only problem with having reflections on a ground surface like this. So what I can do is actually make a gradient map like I had shown you in the previous video and just concentrate it to this area. Okay, and then it won't have all these reflections of everything else. So let's move on to the next video and we'll do our final tweaks.